Good afternoon and welcome back to Football League World TV. We're continuing the Fans Voice series on the channel, and this lunchtime we are going to be discussing Queen's Park Rangers. I'm your host, Alfie Burns, and I'm delighted to announce Louis come on the channel. Louis, how are you getting on this
not
afternoon?
Too bad, mate. Yeah, thank you for letting me join this afternoon. Looking forward to talking about QPR and the upcoming season.
Yeah, absolutely. There's plenty to talk about. We're streaming across Facebook, YouTube and Twitter this morning, so any QPR fans want to get themselves in the comments, we'll get your comments up on the show. Before we get into next season then, Louis, I think it's a good time to just sort of reflect on the season gone by. The playoffs looked, a real possibility at times for Queen's Park Rangers over the 2021-22 campaign, but they drifted to 11th in the end. What were your sort of overriding thoughts of the season?
Yeah, I think we started off really well, especially the first couple months of the season. We were playing really good football, and the expectation that a lot of our fans were hoping for from the end of the previous season before last, it was actually showing, and we all started to believe that there could be a chance, that we were going to get in the top six. But as the season went on, we were grinding out a lot of results, not necessarily playing the best football. We were getting a few, last-minute winners in some games, especially away from home, and it just kept us going. And we were in the top six pretty much the whole season. Didn't really drop out, and obviously it got towards the business end of the season where we fell apart. We had a lot of injuries, but I think before that happened, you could see that the form was really going downhill, and it was a shame because we all started to believe, and there were certain points in the season where you thought this, not necessarily get promoted, but to definitely get in the top six. We thought it could be our year, and then I think obviously with Mark Warburton departing, that was probably the best decision. I do think the club made the right decision there, and I think there was parts of his management to blame. Probably senior players didn't step up as well in important stages of the season, and it was a shame really just to see it go downhill, and like you say, to finish 11th in the end was bitterly disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, it sort of from an outsider's perspective seemed that the season started to drift quite badly once the speculation surrounding whether Mark Warburton was going to be in charge, come the summer. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think, like I say, the form dipped massively, and obviously when there was talk of Warburton, his contract weren't going to be renewed. I think that just added really to the pressure of the whole squad as well as a whole, trying to sort of get over the line and get in that top six. But I think Warburton had his faults. I mean, he was probably, certain games he was very stubborn with his team selections. I mean, it was going wrong, and there was no sort of changing system. He was quite persistent with certain players, continued to play every week, and that didn't help at all. So, yeah, I think he was to blame as well as other aspects that went towards it. But yeah, I think it was the right decision for him to move on.
On to the new era then. Michael Beale has been appointed. He comes with, quite a good reputation in coaching circles. Are you happy with the appointment?
Yeah, I think when he first got appointed, initial reaction was a bit sort of apprehensive whether, it's his first managerial job in any sort of level, and obviously that will come with a big risk. But I suppose any managerial appointment comes with a risk, in itself. But yeah, after hearing more about him, listening to what former players and even current players had to say about Michael Beale, it sounds very exciting, and I haven't really heard a bad word about him. And I think his coaching skills and the levels he's coached to at clubs like Rangers, Liverpool, Chelsea, you can tell he's a top coach, and I'm just hoping he can transform that to managerial skills as well. And I think I heard at Villa he was sort of really involved in that side of the game alongside Steven Gerrard. So hopefully there'll be no issue with transferring to a manager. But I just hope sort of he gets his way of playing across, and the players take it on board quickly because obviously the season starts very soon. And yeah, I think with Michael Beale coming in as well, I think there's an attraction there with players who they'll want to come to QPR now, who especially younger players. He's got a track record in developing them. So I think that'll be good in terms of the recruitment. The recruitment's been good so far, and I think it'll just attract better players to the club where past years we might have not been able to attract them.
He's signed a 3-year contract as QPR manager. Do you kind of feel that reflects the club's thinking in this is maybe the start of a new cycle in moving on from Warburton, but also the start of this 3-year plan is going to be getting into the Premier League? Do you kind of see it like that as a fan?
I do. Yeah, I see it as a bit of a journey beginning with him. I mean, it'd be hard not to sort of feel that we can't push on straight away because of obviously last season. The expectation will still be there, I think, to be honest, with certain fans, and I don't blame them. But I think if you're being realistic, to get his style across, and obviously new players gelling in the squad, I think it could well take a year or so to sort of push on, and then like you say, in those 3 years, in the second or third year, we could really kick on as a club. But we're progressing nicely, and we're definitely moving forward in the right direction. But for myself, I'd love to see another playoff push. I mean, with the current squad as it is, no big players have left, and I don't think they will now, unless serious money comes in. If we add to it, then you could argue there's no reason why we can't push for a top 6 finish in his first season. So it's exciting, and I just hope, obviously, the brand of football he wants to play, it could really all click. And if it all clicks, then we've got the players to push on, definitely. The likes of last season, Seny Dieng in goal. He's definitely one of the best keepers in this league. And then obviously got the 2 number 10s, Ilias Chair, Chris Willock, on their day. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant to watch, and 2 of the best attacking midfielders in this division. So, and you've got other players through the spine of the team like Rob Dickey, Sam Field, Stefan Johansson. So you've got a very good sort of starting 11, spine and base to the squad. It's just the depth that we need, and yeah, we can definitely kick on. And who knows what could happen in his first season as well.
Let's talk transfers then. The arrivals so far, Jake Salter, Kenneth Powell and Tyler Roberts have been signed. Some really decent looking business there on paper. Are you impressed by it?
Yeah, I rate every signing that's come in so far. I think obviously Tyler Roberts, the latest recruit on loan from Leeds. I mean, he's probably not sort of, set the world alight at Leeds during his time there, but I think, he's been a consistent sort of player in terms of, he's played a lot of games, and he's made quite a few appearances in the Premier League. And I think under Bielsa at Leeds, I think Bielsa always used to sort of have him involved. So that there's definitely a player there. And I mean, we were chatting just off camera there, weren't we, about Roberts? I think he just needs a sort of a break. And he's still only 23, which I think is mad because he feels like he's been around for quite a few years. And under Michael Beale, if he gets him playing, he could fit in really well with Chris Willock and Ilias Chair as well, as sort of maybe a 3 behind the striker. So I'm definitely excited by Tyler Roberts coming in, and I think there's a view to a permanent as well. So who knows what could happen there. So yeah, if he stays fit, and I think he could be a really good addition to the squad, especially moving forward in those attacking areas. And Kenneth Powell as well, obviously left back from Holland on a free transfer. Is one that I'm excited by, because I wish we do this more often with business, with players coming from abroad, because there's so many times clubs have done it in the past where they'll get a player from abroad and they'll just, no one's really heard of them, but they'll come in and do a good job, and they'll excite the fan base. So I'm excited by him, and he's looked good so far in pre-season. So that, I don't think that'll be a bad signing. And then obviously Jake Clark-Salter as well, I think obviously coming in to replace Johan Barbe, left-footed centre-half, younger than Barbe, so looks a very good replacement. And I think when he was at Coventry last season on loan, he definitely impressed, and I think their fans wanted him back quite a bit. So I'm glad we got him to join QPR. And I think, again, Bill, like I said earlier about the attraction, he knows Jake from like Chelsea academy days, and he sort of got into the club. So I think he's had his injury problems, I think, a little bit. But again, if he stays fit, he could be a top centre half for us. And I think he's been playing in pre-season, and I think he comes straight in, to be honest, whether we play a back four or back five. So, and again, another, we haven't spent any money on him. So you can get these good players out there for free. But yeah, so far so good with the free coming in, and we just need a few more now because the squad depth at the moment is not looking great. But I'm sure we'll get what we need, which is probably right back, at least one striker, and maybe another midfielder as well. So I'm sure the club will do it, but it's just taking a bit of time.
We've had a comment in from Tom Ward. He thinks the business has been decent, but a little bit more depth's needed, especially at fullback and up front. Would you agree with that? Yeah,
definitely. I mean, on right backs, we've only got sort of one first team right back at the moment in Osman Kakai, who's just clearly not good enough for this level, to be honest. And then bar that, we've got a young, under 23s right back who's been involved, but again, he's realistically needs like a loan to League Two. So yeah, I'd be looking at getting two right backs in, but I can't see that. But I think we're definitely looking to sign one, and hopefully it'll be Danny McNamara from Millwall, because seems to be dragging on, this rumour, the last few weeks.
Yeah, I just want to touch on something that you mentioned earlier, just with regards to outgoings and how you don't think that there'll be a significant outgoing from this point onwards. Are you concerned if there is, the time that QPR would have to replace an Ilias Chair or somebody like that?
Yeah, like I said, I think it will take serious, offers to come in, and there's been nothing said about any of those leaving, but it only does, like you say, it could take one team to come in and with a bid where you can't say no to, and if that was to happen, like you say, with Ilias Chair or Chris Willock or Rob Dickey or Senny Dieng, probably the likely four out of one of them. If it was to happen during the end of the window, yeah, I'll be concerned, because we wouldn't have really the time probably to get a very good replacement in. But then on the flip side of that, I can't see the club selling, into the latter stages of the window. It would have to be for serious money, but I can't see it. But I think next season, if we don't sort of go up, then I can see maybe one or even two of those four that I mentioned going for sure.
Had another comment in from QPR, Liam. After Danny McNamara at Millwall, like you just mentioned, pay them what they want. Is that where you are?
Yeah, I think he's in his last year of his contract, so we could. I mean, the longer it goes on, if he doesn't sign a deal at Millwall, you could see it happening. But I think with the rumoured bids so far that we've put in, it's, I think, 300, 700,000 is just, that's, you're not going to get far when you're offering money like that for a player of his quality. So, yeah, I mean, apparently we're going to be putting in a very improved offer for him in the coming days. So fingers crossed, yeah, and I agree. Pay Millwall what they want for him, but not too much, because he's only got a year left on his current deal.
We were talking off air before, and the new season's just creeped up, and it's only a little over a week away now. So we're just going to look at sort of the opening month or so of the season for QPR. Blackburn away, Middlesbrough at home, Sunderland away, Blackpool and Rotherham at home, Watford away, Hull at home. It's a reasonable first month for Beale to be getting his teeth stuck into, isn't it?
It is. Obviously, you mentioned there a couple of sides who are quite interesting. Obviously, you've got Watford who have come down, Sunderland who have come up. It's going to be a challenge, but everyone knows this division. It is tough, no matter who you play, home and away. But those opening fixtures we have got, yeah, they're not too bad on paper, and hopefully it's a good opportunity for us to get some early points on the board. But it's important that we definitely start the season strongly, and you don't want it to sort of go all negative straight away with certain fans' reactions if we lose the first few games like we've done, in previous seasons. But yeah, like you say, with those opening games, I'm confident we'll have a decent points tally on the board, and just fingers crossed, really, that we can just maintain sort of a consistency throughout the season, which, again, we've not done in previous years, especially last season, the way we fell apart. If we carried it on, who knows what could have happened. But it's just consistency, and hopefully the players who were obviously involved last season, they've learned themselves maybe not to get too excited early of what could happen. And hopefully, I suppose one thing I'm sort of concerned about is the experience in this squad. In terms of age, we've only got a couple sort of players who are over 30, obviously like Johansson and Adoma. So I think experience is key for wanting to succeed in this division. And I think we possibly need a few more signings that are going to come in who could be in that sort of age bracket, just to sort out, the young players in the squad, because it's a very young squad, and obviously the club have made it sort of clear that they want to integrate some of the young players as well. And you're going to need more experience to merge those two things together, really. So hopefully that comes, and we'll have sort of a similar squad to last season, where we had quite a bit of experience, but then the likes of Chris Willock, Ilias Chair, who are sort of the younger ones in the squad as well. So yeah, hopefully same again squad wise, and yeah, just hopefully we can push for a top 6 finish.
Yeah, you've mentioned it a couple of times that you think that there's a possibility there to push for a top 6 finish, which would mean a promotion push in the coming season. Realistically, then, where's your head at? Where do you think QPR are going to finish in the coming season? I know it's early for predictions.
Yeah, obviously it all depends on the window and however many players we're still going to get in through the door. But I think at the moment, my head's probably saying like a mid-table, even similar to last season, like an 11th placed, or maybe just outside the playoffs. But then my heart's saying another top 6 run, and hopefully we're just consistent throughout the end. But yeah, like I say, the window is important, and if we get in the players that we need to fill certain positions and depth, then yeah, there's no reason why we can't challenge. But the players coming in have to be to the quality that we need, and they need to enhance the squad. So now, probably outside the top 6. After the window, if you were to ask me again, it could be a real strong challenge for the top 6 again.
That concludes us look at Queen's Park Rangers then for the upcoming season. Thanks to anybody that's joined us and got themselves in the comment, and thanks to you as well for coming on, Louis. I hope you've enjoyed it.
Yeah, enjoyed it a lot. Thank you for having me on.
Not a problem at all. Coming up later today on Football League World TV, we're taking a look at Hull, Cardiff and Wigan as the fans' voice continues. So 3 good shows that I'm sure you'll be looking forward to tuning into. But between now and then, take care.